That's right. I'm Loretta Brown. Radio to open the heart, heal the soul, and awaken the consciousness. Awaken. Wake up. That's right.
Perfect.
It is perfect.
Timing for today.
I love how things fit together. What a beautiful day. Penny, seriously.
Yes.
You worked your magic, and here it is. It was those shorts. 4th of July.
It was my beer pong flag shorts, my tribute for 4th of July, yes.
Yes, totally.
I did very well.
Yes, you did. You did. Because you brought the sun. At least brought the smile to everybody's face. That's
what I hope to do.
Thank you. You're very good at it. So, like I said, welcome to the Loretta Brown Show. I have a great guest today. We'll bring her on in a minute. And I am the owner of Reiki Oasis, located here in the greater Seattle area. And we've been around over 20 years. Yay, 22 years. And we always offer all kinds of wonderful things. So just kind of thinking what it is that's coming up. We've got this weekend, I will be doing a little talk about Reiki and energy medicine at Japan Fair in Bellevue at the Maidenbauer Center. Yay. And I'll be there Saturday morning at 11 and Sunday morning at 11:30 at the stage. And I really encourage you to come on out because, you know, everything is vibration, everything's resonance, everything's energy. And if you haven't sat in on any kind of a talk like that before, you'll just really have fun. I have a little PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll play with subtle energy. It's called that for a reason. Yeah, subtle. I'm not very subtle sometimes, but sometimes I am. So, you know, that's the way energy is, too. We've got Temple of the Divine Feminine coming up July 15th. And this is a powerful class that I teach, Healing the Wounds of the Women. It is for women only, and it is by invitation only. So if you're interested in that class, send me an email. Send it to Loretta at ReikiOasis.com. And we'll have a little chat, and believe me, the screening process is not that difficult. It's really just that I only have so much space in the classroom at Reiki Oasis, so that's really kind of what's going on there. Also, my dear soul sister, Tricia McCannon, is going to be in town in Seattle. She's doing a little tour, and it will be also Saturday, July 15th at 7 to 10 in the evening at the Amazing Grace Center. And you can buy tickets if you go. There's a link on my Facebook page, and you can go there. And you can also go to triciamccannon.com and get the tickets through there. But I highly recommend her. She's written some really great books, The Return of the Divine Sophia and Jesus, the Hidden Years, you know, and Dialogue with the Angels. She's got a new book coming out, I think, September 22nd, about our angelic origins. And she is a true soul sister, doing a lot of work with the healing of the feminine. And boy, we could sure use more of that. I also have a workshop for angels coming up on Saturday, July 29th. This is one of my most popular classes. It quite often gets full. And we talk about what are angels, why would we want to work with them, what are spirit guides, and how do we connect with them. Everybody that comes to the class is always guaranteed to have some sort of an experience with the angelic realm. And so a lot of fun. You've got nothing else to do at the end of the month. Come on out. And, you know, there's also Reiki classes, but you can go to ReikiOasis.com and click on the calendar, or you can go to schedule.ReikiOasis.com, and all the everything that's being offered, including private sessions, are on that scheduling page, and you can schedule right online thanks to Indigo Hawk, my amazing webmaster, who I will not reveal his true identity, but he knows who he is. That's right. And I know. And, well, some of you know. That's right. Some of you do know. Wow. Anyway, we like that.
Some things are just best left secret.
You know, I've been learning, Benny, that sometimes you have to ask for help. Mm-hmm. And it's tough when you're, you know.
It does?
Yeah, it's just
Sometimes
tough.
you just got to do it, though.
You just got to do it, and there's nothing wrong with it, and you don't need to be embarrassed. You just ask for help. And then amazing people that can really do a great job at things step right in, and they do it, and you're just like, wow, that's just great. And they also have a chance to use their gifts, which I love more than anything. So big shout out to the supporters of this show. We are a listener-supported live radio show. What an amazing thing. And you can go to patreon.com/The Loretta Brown Show if you want to contribute to keeping this show going with great guests. I want to talk briefly about the sky because we are in July. And, when we have the 4th of July at the beginning and that long weekend, we're all waking up going, my goodness, we're already like a week into July. This is an astrologically little bit of a challenging month. I have a tendency to be more positive than negative when I look at things. But we've got a full moon coming up on July 8th. And it's the most intense full moon of the year because it's in a tight conjunction to Pluto. So it's a very challenging full moon because both the sun and the moon are in signs that they're not very comfortable in those signs. And Pluto sitting just next to the moon will expose all our insecurities. Ugh. So a little bit of a rough weekend, so go into it gently. How much this full moon is going to affect you depends on how much you try to resist its influence. So if you embrace the energy with awareness, like, okay, this is going to be what it is, the full moon in Capricorn can be extremely empowering, and it can help you manifest things that seemed impossible in the past. So I really suggest that you kind of jump on that energy. On July 9th, there's an opposition between Sun and Pluto, and it becomes exact. Muto. I was trying to, like Moon and Pluto.
Right.
It's a new planet.
I think
I just discovered it.
It sounds like an awesome place to be. The Muto.
Yeah, the Muto. Anyway, the opposition between Sun and Pluto will bring a sort of struggle in expressing your individuality. And in mid-July, more exactly July 10th to July 16th, the sky is pretty uneventful. So that will be the time, July 10th to the 16th, to take a much-needed rest after such a powerful full moon. So make sure you make the best of this phase by taking some time off to recharge your batteries. Now, of course, we'll give you more information as the month goes on, but generally, I want you to know that there's a lot of activity after that. The last couple of weeks of July have a lot going on, to include a new moon that will be on July 23rd, and it's the first new moon in Leo at 0 degrees. So this year, we're going to have 2 new moons in Leo, and the second one is actually at the time of the total eclipse in August, and I've been talking about that eclipse. So the first new moon on July 23rd in Leo will give us clues about what to expect at the time of the solar eclipse on August 21st, which is, it's probably the most important astrological event of the year, and they're calling it the solar eclipse of the United States because it's going to go from Portland, Oregon, slashing all the way across the United States with a full solar eclipse. So the first new moon in July here is by itself extremely powerful, and it's great for intention setting because it takes place at 0 degrees, and it's conjunct Mars, the most active planet. And 0 degrees is the degree of the magician. So anything's possible now, my listeners. And the manifesting power of your intentions is extremely strong. And like they say, be careful what you wish for because you might just get it. And by the way, I do believe that you can get it. And talking about getting it, I'm going to introduce my guest because she is, her name is Nancy Yearout. Nancy Yearout. She's written a great book called Wake Up. And those of you on the video cam, I'm showing you the book. The Wake Up, the universe is speaking to you. Learn to use universal energy to change your life. Nancy Yearout is an energy worker and an author. She's a spiritual life coach, a motivational speaker, and she says her faith in the Lord and her intuitive abilities have enhanced over the years, giving her the necessary skills to assist people on their spiritual paths. And so welcome to the show, Nancy.
Thank you, Loretta. How are you?
I'm great. It's wonderful to have you on our show today.
Thank you.
So I'd like to just kind of ask, what led you to write this book?
Well, I always thought I'd write this book when I was really old. I've lived such crazy things in my life, and I always thought, okay, when I get really old, I'll sit down and write it down. But, I was in the real estate business, and, a few years ago, the real estate industry kind of went crazy, and it gave me an opportunity. I think God gave me an opportunity to sit down and write down some of these principles that I've learned over time, and just to really help other people, because I've learned so many things that I just realized that people didn't understand. They didn't understand how much energy the spoken word has and how much energy your thoughts have. And that's why I wrote the book, basically, to help other people. Yeah.
I love that. And also, what I really like about your book, and I'm going to put a little plug in for your book for the listeners, it's called, like I said, it's called Wake Up by Nancy Yearout. You have wonderful little chapters where you talk about the energy of many, many different things. Like some of the titles are, the energy fields in your body, the energy of water, the energy of prayer, things like this. So they're great. It's an easy read, but I think that the main thing that I got out of it, there's a couple of things, is this concept that everything is energy. Everything is energy. And so, obviously people need to read the book to really, because you go into that quite depth. Like, that's a simple statement that anybody can say. Well, what does that really mean to you?
Well, and one of the main things that I tried to get across in the book is that you can actually change your life by using the energy. I believe that the energy is here for our use. And I think we just haven't been taught or haven't really, experimented enough with it to realize that we can change things. I think I learned to draw things to myself was the first thing for me. I had a really cool spiritual mentor, and she would say, draw things to yourself. At the time, I was trying to sell houses. I had 2 little kids, and I was a single mom, and I needed to sell houses. I needed to sell real estate. I was in that industry at the time, and she said, draw it to you. And, I started to learn how to draw things to myself, how to draw business to myself out of necessity. So as I have experimented with this over the years, then I've learned that, wait a minute, everything has energy. What I say makes a difference. What I think makes a difference. The energy I put out there is what I'm going to get back. Because what I learned over time is that the universe only gives us what we ask for. That's how our Creator set this up. Whatever you say, whatever you think, whatever you ask, we are given. That's why I always say be really specific what you ask for. Be careful with your words. Be careful with your thoughts. Because whatever you say is energy. It goes out into the universe, and the universe is like, oh, that's what she wants, so that's what we're going to give her. So don't say, I'll never be successful, because you won't.
Right.
If you say, I'm happy and I'm successful, that's where affirmations come in. I learned to say affirmations early on. I am prosperous. At the time, I needed to sell things. So I would say things like, money flows immediately and constantly to me, and I accept the abundance. Now, what I really learned by having faith, and that was a tough thing for me to learn, the energy of faith is amazing. Once you actually have faith and let go and realize that there is a higher power out there, and if you have faith, things will happen for you. The energy of faith is so powerful. That was one of my biggest aha moments, is when I actually had faith and it happened and things worked out for me. Then I thought, wow, this is really incredible stuff,
I think that what you're saying is right to the point and very powerful, and it's very clear. I sometimes think that people make things too complicated, like, because I have people come to me, and I know you do too, that have quite a storyline going. It's very tangled up. It's really kind of messy, and they can't get their way out of it, mainly because of this idea that, you brought up several things. Number one, that they're thinking about it in a negative way. Like, this is a negative thing, or I'm in a negative situation, which, by the way, could be the truth. There's true negative energy. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right.
But they also get their mind all tangled up. Like, can they even have a thought that's positive, such as, I am just fine. I will be just fine, or I am not alone. There is a greater power that is assisting me. I can rely on that, because a lot of people have trust issues and this idea of surrendering, right? Like surrendering, because surrendering to me is powerful and it ties right in with your faith, your belief. And can you just accept that? So, yeah, what are your comments on that sort of thing? Mm-hmm.
Well, again, it's a mindset. It really is. And sometimes people get into a rut. I always call it a rut, when they're in this negative mindset, and they get themselves into a negative space, per se. And it's really hard to get out of it. And that's why I talk in the book about clearing yourself, clearing your energy field, staying away from negative people. A lot of times the negativity that's happening in your life is caused by other people's energy that's attaching to you. And that's something, you can clear yourself, but you have to mentally, kind of put up a wall sometimes and stay away from some of the negativity. I always say, everything in moderation. You can watch the news on television, but don't watch it all day long. You can be around certain people, but protect yourself before you're around those people. Because we all have the ability to stay clear and to keep our energy fields clear. And actually, it affects our health when we're around negative people and we're exposed to negativity. And yes, people get into a rut, and they almost think, like you said, it's like entangled. They've got themselves all, into maybe a box, and they need to get out of it. And that's why I'm saying, hey, wake up. You have the ability to change your life and make it any way you want it to be. We're little creators. I really believe that. Mm-hmm. And we have the ability to create what we want. And if you're in a negative situation at work or at home, you have the ability to change that and to make your life any way you want it to be. So I really believe in positive affirmations. I believe in, yes, you have to have faith. And, nobody is alone. We do have God who is watching over us, and people have forgotten that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people forget that you're not alone. Somebody is out there watching over you, and all you have to do is have faith and believe, and you would be amazed at what can happen. And it may sound all wonderful for me to say, but it's the truth.
Right.
And I don't think people realize it. That's why I wrote this book. I just don't think people understand that they have the ability to make their life happy. And I think our Creator wanted us to be happy. We have a choice. And I just would like to see people get out there and be more positive. I just see so much negativity in the world right now. We need to change it up because it's affecting everything in my mind.
Yeah. I so agree with what you're saying. And when people look around them, and of course the news quite often is filled with disastrous events, because we do need to know about these things, but we can really get caught up in the swirl of that downward pull of negativity and become sort of victims of it rather than going, whoa, wait a minute, I have a God-given ability to create, to co-create, and to choose to, how am I going to be on this planet? Yeah. Exactly.
And I think we all have a choice. And that's why I talk about the energy of music, because a lot of times, I can remember being really stressed out in my job years ago and getting in my car. I still do it. And and you drive and you turn on a really great song, and that energy of that music can really be uplifting to you. There's a lot of different things you can do that are not ooey gooey or weird, like people may think.
Although dancing in my car, I do get caught doing that.
Yeah. Good for you.
Or singing really loud, like my mouth is really open.
I think that's awesome. But that's, we need to just kind of, I don't know, if you put out good energy, I always say this, and it's not as complicated as everybody thinks. It's very, let me put it this way. It's easier to be negative. It's more difficult to be positive. You have to work at it a little bit. It's easier to say negative things about other people. Here's the thing. People don't realize when you gossip and you say things about other people, that energy goes out into the universe, and it does reach that other person. But what I believe is that it does come back to you tenfold. So people just need to be careful about what they say. I say this quite a bit, but, it's talked about in the Bible. And we're going back, to our roots here. Wait a minute. Mm-hmm. What was Jesus trying to tell us? He was saying, be careful what you say. Your words have energy. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. And your thoughts have energy. If you think positive, you can draw good positive energy to yourself, and you can change your life, basically.
Well, I think
you can draw, if you have a partner or if you're looking for somebody out there, you can draw a good person to you with your good energy. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was just thinking, when you said that, there's the verse in the Bible, as a man thinketh, so is he, right? So yes. We've got, that level of thought, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we have that level of thinking, and we have speaking, and we have emoting, and we have feeling, and really everything that's going on there, like you say, what we send out, it is a boomerang. It really does come back to us, and I've always thought that if we gossip, we're actually gossiping about ourselves. So, we're doing it to us. So kind of being aware of that kind of thing. I wanted to say, when I was a little girl, my mother used to, I'd get scared at night, I'd be afraid of the dark, and she'd say, honey, if you're afraid, you wake up and you're afraid, just sing a song, right? Oh. Like sing, like whistle, or sing a song like Twinkle Little Star or Jesus Loves Me or something. And so I can remember I'd be in my room and I'd be singing Twinkle Little Star with force, right?
You're right. That's great.
That's why my father used to call me the mouth. That's our joke.
What do you mean with like force, like heavy metal version?
No, it'd be like twinkle, twinkle.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it's not like twinkle, twinkle, little star.
I kind of had like this vision of like twinkle, twinkle, little star.
It probably was kind of like that, actually.
Like an aggressive approach. I think it's great either way.
Aggressive twinkle.
There you go.
Right? Anyway, and another one of my favorite songs was, This Little Light of Mine. And anybody,
mine too.
Anybody can sing that. And I'd be like, hide it under a bushel. No, I'm going to let it shine. And I think these are essences of great things, because I'm always thinking, what can we do for our children and our grandchildren also, not just for ourselves, but, everything that we're doing is setting the stage, and it's training them and putting them in an energy that will help them live a different type of a life. So,
well, yeah, and if they see negativity all the time, that affects you. That affects them, and if they can see positive and the good vibrations, people can tell when they walk up to you or when they walk into a room what the energy is like. We don't talk about it so much, but if your energy is good and the room's energy is good, people want to come and they want to be around you. But if there's negativity, people want to leave and get away from that place, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So we're going to take a station break, and that's such a great place to break. I want to let the listening audience know we are going to open the lines, and the number at the radio station is 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-5569. And remember, this is an opportunity for you to be able to ask a question of Nancy Yearout, the author of Wake Up. And if you want a little angel message from Loretta, of course, you can always get that, or you can get them both. There's nothing wrong with spiritual greediness to a certain extent on the radio, right? But if you're feeling that little flutter in the heart, that little breathlessness, that's the indicator that this is an opportunity for you to speak live on the air with us, and we'd love to have you call in. 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-5569. And don't go away. We'll be right back.
Energy is powerful. It's all around us, mysterious, full of potential. Directing positive, healing energy to raise your vibrational rate through Reiki can change your life. Reiki Master Loretta Brown has relieved stress, sadness, anger, and even helped clients lose weight, stop smoking, and end sleep disorders. Worldwide, people have sought out Reiki Oasis. If you want help with your dis-ease, visit ReikiOasis.com. Harness life's energy. Visit ReikiOasis.com today.
Imagine what it's like to be active your whole life and then find out you're going blind. That's what happened to me. I have age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. As a wife, mother, and grandmother, my sight is precious to me. What a relief when I found out that treatments for some forms of AMD are available and that research is underway on additional preventions and treatments. AMD is the leading cause of vision loss in people 55 and over. When I started seeing blurry spots in the middle of my eye, I saw my doctor. She suggested I review the prevention and treatment information on fightblindness.org. Did you know that some forms of AMD can be slowed down or stopped, and in some cases reversed if found in time? Get more information about preserving your vision. Call the Foundation Fighting Blindness today at 1-800-BLINDNESS for a free packet on reversing or managing AMD, or go to the website where I found so much helpful information. Fightblindness.org, 1-800-BLINDNESS, 1-800-254-6363, or fightblindness.org.
Having trouble picking up the Alternative Talk 1150 signal? Well, whether you live in Portugal or Puyallup, Tasmania or Tacoma, India or Issaquah, you can get Alternative Talk 1150 programming streamed live on your computer via our website, 1150kknw.com. It's true, just visit 1150kknw.com and click on the Listen Live button. Make sure you have an audio player installed that will play streaming MP3 audio such as Winamp, iTunes, or current versions of Real Player or Windows Player. Visit our website for more details. Remember, that's 1150kknw.com.
A message from the American Migraine Foundation.
It's an absolute nightmare.
There's pain that does not stop.
I feel trapped by migraine.
Migraine is a disabling disease.
I feel like I'm dying. You feel like the world's closing in on you. There's nothing you can do.
It's like you're trapped in your head. There's no escaping it. You can't leave your body.
Don't suffer alone. Make your move against migraine. Visit AmericanMigraineFoundation.org to find help, learn more, and get connected.
Let angels and Reiki and the search for mystical knowledge become a regular part of your routine Thursday mornings at 8 a.m. Loretta Brown, owner of Reiki Oasis, Reiki Master Teacher, an angel messenger, and healing musician, all wrapped into one as she uses her voice to share knowledge of great mysteries, energetic laws, and messages of love from the divine. Join her and her show every Thursday morning at 8 a.m. to open your heart and heal your soul. Visit ReikiOasis.com for more information about her show.
Radio with no added hormones or preservatives. All natural alternative talk, 1150 a.m.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Woohoo! Benny, that was awesome. I think, Nancy, I almost think we have to sing it, right? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. There we go. So we're just shining some beautiful energy out to all of you, my listeners. And, of course, this is the Loretta Brown Show. My guest today is the beautiful Nancy Yearout, and she's written a great book called Wake Up. The universe is speaking to you. That's right. And once again, I've got it on the cam for those of you that like to watch what's going on in the radio station. And we're having a wonderful conversation about energy and what is going on here. And we went into the break talking a little bit about negative energy. And Nancy, talk for just a little bit about the effects of negative energy upon us.
Yeah, and I just was thinking about the energy of forgiveness, and I'll use this as an example. When you hold on to negative energy, then you don't forgive somebody, you are actually hurting yourself. One of the best things that you can do for yourself is to forgive somebody, because when you hold on to that, it weighs you down. The forgiveness part is letting it go and releasing that negative energy from yourself so you're free. I know a lot of people that will hold on to things, and they don't know to let it go. They don't realize that they're hurting themselves. The negative energy can actually get into your, get into your bones and your tissues, and it causes disease in the body. When you are around somebody negative for a long period of time, that can definitely happen. I've seen it happen. What happens is your immune system is affected when you're around negative energy. If you're at a job or if you're living with a person who, maybe you're in a bad relationship, you're really hurting yourself, and you can actually become ill because of it. And that's why it's so, and I've seen this happen, actually. I've seen it happen to a family member of mine. It's pretty close to home. And so I think that's another reason why I wrote the book and talk about how to clear your energy fields. We all have chakras. We all have energy fields. And you can get into the bathtub and take a sea salt bath after work and get some of that stuff off. You can do some meditation, yoga. I talked about music. There's so many different things you can do to clear yourself. A simple thing you can do is put cinnamon on the stove in a pot of water. And the steam, actually, believe it or not, the properties within the steam, within the cinnamon, can clear the energy in a room. And I always tell people to do this at holiday time. We always have such different personalities show up. So that way, you can clear your house. Yeah. There's different things you can do, and people don't even realize you're doing it. There's a couple different things that I'll say in the morning. Because you go out into the world, and, there's a lot of positive people, but there's also quite a bit of negativity, and that negativity can attach to you, whether you believe it or not. It will happen, and it can weigh you down. And so I really think it's important that people, do something to clear themselves, to keep your energy fields clear. We're energy. We're in these bodies, and we think about our bodies, but we don't think about the energy of the source. Is what keeps us going. And that's the part that we really need to clear. And, I love meditation for that reason. Like I said, I love yoga for that reason. I use a lot of essential oils, and I go back to biblical times when I talk in the book about frankincense and the healing properties and all the different things that essential oils can actually do for you. Aromatherapy, can really make a difference. So there's so many different things you can do. And the reason I think it's so important, I hate to feel like I'm going over this again, but it's because it affects your health. It really can affect your health if you don't clear your energy field. That's how I feel, and that's what I really believe. So if I can help anybody, it's that. Come home and buy some sea salt at the grocery store and get in the bathtub for a half an hour and soak. Get some of that yucky stuff off of you. I'm out in New Mexico. I'm a New Mexico resident, and we use white sage. And the Native Americans use this. They use it in their ceremonies, and I use it to clear my house. You can use it to clear your car. So it's a big deal to clear your house and make sure the energy feels good, because that's where you're at, all the time. So
I love everything that you're saying. Especially, I'm an aromatherapist also, and do a lot of things with scent. And I love this idea, especially with the sound. Like, you can have house music is what I call it, right? House music. And you can even put it on when you're gone. It will actually change the vibration of your home, or have a scent going, have an oil diffusing. Or the cinnamon stick is fantastic because, people will come in and they'll go, oh, my goodness, that smells so good. What is that, right? It just is warm. And, and it's also, creates a hostile environment for, viruses and things like that. But letting it go is a huge thing. Forgiveness. How do we forgive? And a lot of people think forgiveness has to do with saying that what somebody did was okay. And that's really not what forgiveness is about.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. And it's hard to forgive, but you're really just lifting that negative energy from yourself. And if you look at it that way, you can remember what the person did. You don't have to forget. But forgiving them is basically releasing yourself of the negativity. And I think, I always say, when people realize that all the negative things that they do to other people will come back to them and affect them, the negativity and the awful things that people do may actually stop, because people don't realize when you hurt somebody intentionally, that energy comes back to you tenfold. It just does.
Yeah, it does.
And you've seen it, and I've seen it over time, and people don't realize when you're maliciously doing something to someone else, it will come back to you.
Yeah. So, and I totally agree, because, in the work that I do, we do see that thoughts and unresolved emotional and mental conflicts, which are these thoughts and habitual patterns of thought is really the deal. They do get stored in the organs. We're going to take a caller, and I want to remind the audience before we go that the number here is 425-373-5527 or 1-888-298-5569. We'd love to have you call in with a question. And let's take our first caller.
It'll be Mary from Seattle. Welcome to the show, Mary. What's your question?
Hi, Mary.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I was just listening to everything you guys were saying, and I love it. I agree with everything, and I'm thinking I could use some of this advice in my home. I have 4 kids. I have 2 teens and 2 younger ones, and as my one is approaching, my son is becoming 16. I'm finding a very hard balance between positive energy and encouragement, and then my own fear, and then that discipline. So it's like, this kid he's always been just an amazing kid. But now, it's becoming 16, they want to go do things on their own. And, we just had fireworks, and there were safety things. And I blew my top yelling, and I thought, this is not how I want to handle things. So I'm just calling to get a little advice. What do you think at this interesting time in parenting, and I'm new at the teenage thing? How do I keep that positive energy that we've always had in our house? And now as they are changing and we're changing and there's a little more bickering and they're all going different directions, I'm afraid of losing that positive energy. And I want to keep it there, and I want to still discipline. I thought, I don't know, maybe you guys would have a tip.
I've got a tip for you, Mary. How are you today?
I'm fine. Thank
You know what I can tell you that's really come into my mind more than anything is just encourage. Always say encouraging words, because the more you encourage somebody, the more positive energy you are transmitting to them, then they in turn will feel more positive. And maybe when he's out, if you're positive and reinforce, hey, go have a good time, I know you guys are going to be great, don't do the worry thing. Because worry, believe it or not, when you worry, that energy goes out there too. So try not to worry. Try to have faith, okay? Be positive. Give him positive, words. The more positive you can be, what's going to happen is that positive energy that you give to him by saying, hey, go out there and have a good time. I know you'll be safe. I know you'll be fine. Then he will go out with that positive energy, and it will make a difference. He may think twice before he does something else, because the more encouragement you can give somebody, the better off you are, and so are they, because you want to always encourage, always encourage. The negativity begots more negativity. And I know that may sound, I know you have to discipline your kids. I have kids. My kids are grown, but I had to do the same thing. But there's a way to do it that you are being more positive and your words are more positive. Because when you're negative, they're just going to take that negative attitude. And then he may think, oh, well, I'm just going to do this out of rebellious. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah. Stay positive.
That sounds right. That feels right to say that, because I think what I've been doing is going in the generation or in the direction of more instilling fear and like, this is going to happen, and I'm getting, I feel it, and I'm sure they feel it, and it doesn't feel right. And I think if I just have faith, I think that's what made me tune in too when you guys were on the radio and you said you really just have to have faith, and I feel like maybe that's what I need to do is let go. And, and maybe be more encouraging and positive. And I believe you will make good decisions rather than having fear and negativity and keep him tied up. You can't leave the house.
Right.
So,
things happen in life, of course. I mean, anything can happen, but you do have to have faith that he'll be okay. And be encouraging. I can't stress that more. Just, encouraging words always. And things will work out.
And Mary, this is Loretta. I'm going to add 2 cents.
Thank you.
It was very, very clear, and you've said it, and Nancy has said it so beautifully. But your guides very clearly said, tell him that I believe in you. I know that you're a good boy. I raised you to be a good boy, right? and then kind of lay back into the knowingness that at the end of the day, the very best thing that you can do for your children is love them. You just love them. And that love is going to exude out. And so you're going to set the tone of yourself. You begin with you, yourself. You're the center. And calm yourself down, quiet yourself down, fall back into the arms of divine, of God, and say, I am here and I'm trusting and I'm the mother. And so I have a role to play, right? This is your life purpose, to be that mother. But then also just embody that beautiful energy that is like, I am safe, I am grounded, I am grounding this house, I'm grounding myself, I'm putting the roots deep and rich, and like a tree, you're going to bloom, and your children are going to leave home at some point. And the only thing they've got with them really is that groundedness, that knowingness that you are the safe place. You're going to hold that space. And it doesn't have to be a heavy burden upon you, because see, you're always laying in the arms of divine. But when you begin to exude that, and, you can also say, this is going to sound weird and don't take it wrong, but, if you're ever in a situation where you need some help, you just call me. Just call me, and I will not say anything. I'll just come get you, and that's just all there is to that. And so, and end of story, right? And and that will just really help a lot, and just constantly be laying back in there. But, we all have to deal with fear. And fear is one of those bizarre energies. It's just a feeling. It's just an emotion. It's not who you really are. And it really is just kind of an illusion. If we're truly in danger, believe me, you'll act before you think, right? So just kind of alleviate your fears and just continue to tell him, I believe in you. I know you're strong. I know you're going to have you're going to do the right thing. And so just have a really great time. Just exude that. So.
Right.
Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad I called in. Thank you so much. I have a new direction at least to reach for, so thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Be blessed, Mary. I love your name.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So it's challenging to be a mom, isn't it, Nancy?
It is.
Yeah, because what do we do? And I think sometimes that we all feel kind of helpless. And, it doesn't even matter what age our kids are. I had someone come in the other day, and they're like, oh, man, this child is like 5 or 6 years old, and I feel like, like they're hitting me and they're coming at me. What do I do, right? And so I think reading your book, Wake Up, The Universe is Speaking to You, I think is going to help a lot of people, because it really, as moms, we sometimes forget about self-care.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't be a good mom unless you're whole yourself. And so, it's always good to keep yourself clear and to stay positive. And it's hard. All moms are afraid that, their kids are going to go out and do things. But I think I've learned over time, and it took me a little bit, to just stay positive and say positive things. What's going to happen is going to happen. And you just have to trust, like you said, that, you teach your kids right from wrong, and you just hope that they listened and that they do what, you taught them when they were little. So.
Yeah. And then also, because she was saying where she kind of lost it, right, and was yelling. And, I've done that before. I'm sure you've done it too. And, and then we're going, oh, my goodness, that was not how I wanted to show up. And so if you can just forgive yourself for being human, and just then, kind of regroup and go back and say, hey, that wasn't okay for me to yell at you like that, right? Let's do this a different way. Those kinds of things they're all energy. They're all setting the tonality of what's going on there. Yeah.
Before I want to mention too the power of prayer. I didn't say anything about that, and the energy of prayer. And then I talk in the book about how you need to ask. And I think you were speaking about that earlier. And it's just really important that people know that your prayers are heard. It may not be answered in the way you think, but your prayers are heard, and you will get an answer. Like I say, it may not be what you anticipated, but your prayers are always answered. And I think a lot of times, I've heard people say this to me so many times, I don't know if you have, but they'll say, oh, I didn't ask, or I didn't think it was necessary to ask. Mm-hmm. And it is. It's really important that you ask, for help.
It's a beautiful, powerful point because you're right. A lot of people wait until there's a crisis or some huge thing before they ask.
Or before they pray,
yes.
And prayer is very powerful, and it's the energy, again, of your intention and your thoughts and your words going out into the universe. And I can't stress that enough, that your prayers are heard. So make sure that you ask and make sure you pray, and, you will find answers. It's quite interesting how it works.
It's beautiful. Yeah. So let's take another caller, Benny.
Love to do that. And we'll take April calling in from Dayton, Ohio. Hello, April.
Hello. Hi, ladies. Thank you for taking my call, and I've been enjoying the show a lot this morning.
Thanks, April.
Okay, so I guess this is like a big bundle of everything you've been talking about. I know that just from dream analysis and talking to other intuitives that I'm going to get married someday. I have faith in that, and it's not something I'm desperate to do anytime now, but I have a relationship question, and I know in the future, I even know the person's name because I dreamt it. So anyway, I'm currently in a relationship, not a relationship, like a long-distance friendship with someone that I used to be in a relationship with, and I feel like we have a contract that we have to work out before I can completely manifest what I really, really want. I don't think it's going to work out with this person, but there's a lesson that I know that I'm supposed to be learning with him, and I think it's connected to core wounds from childhood with mom. So, I want to manifest this great level where I actually feel passionate. I'm actually being honored. I'm honoring myself in the relationship. This particular relationship is going to help me get there, but I wondered what my guides have to say advice-wise. Maybe what you ladies have to say. I'm being vague, I know, but if you have questions, I'll answer them.
Can I say what I pick up real quick?
Yes.
Yes. I'll tell you what I pick up. What I pick up is that you need to learn to be friends before you have a romantic relationship. So that's your lesson. You need to learn to be friends with the person, because you have to be friends before you can move on to a romantic relationship. So your lesson is to learn to be friends, and you said it. You're learning to be friends with this person. It sounds like you did it backwards the other, before, but now you've come full circle, and now you're learning to be friends, and that's what your lesson is. So that's what I pick up for you. Okay.
I'm also getting and that there's a little bit of a jumble in there, and I like how Nancy said it because it clarifies very, very easily. But there's a little bit of jumble in there as to, and I run into this a lot with my clients, like I have a contract with this soul, and am I done with this contract? Am I done going down this path in the way that I'm going, because it's kind of painful and it's not really what I want, but it's kind of sort of what I want, but maybe it's not really what I want. But then there's this thing that I got to take care of, and then, do you see what I mean? Like even saying it back to you, I'm starting to pretzel, and I really am a believer of let's just simplify it. Let's just kind of take a breath and blow the cobwebs out. And what your guides are really saying is, what is it that really needs to be healed? What is it that really needs to be healed? And you don't need to answer on the air because it's private, right? And we are greater than all of this. We're giving you a lot of techniques in Nancy's book, Wake Up. Nancy Yearout's book, Wake Up, is a great book. It's going to give you all kinds of little things of how can I utilize this energy. But you might want to just shift it at just kind of a basic core and say, I am perfect right where I'm at. I'm exactly where divine wants me. Every step, I am getting better and better. And I am healing and have healed so many things. And I can step into a beautiful relationship anytime it's appropriate for me. See, there's a lot in there that we always think we have to fulfill, like a checkbox of things before we can get something beautiful. But sometimes, like Nancy said, sometimes you just pray about it and ask for it. And if you need healing work done, find yourself some good healers to work with, like Nancy, or myself, or people close to you, and work through that and kind of get to the other side. So there's a certain amount of knowing that you have, But I'm here to tell you that sometimes knowing is knowing, and sometimes knowing is tied in with, well, I know that, so that's the way it has to be, right? So release any rigidity around that and kind of open yourself up. But yes, I don't want to overshadow Nancy's message, which I think is the primary one, which is learn to be friends before you become romantically involved. What does friendship mean? And are there any requirements in friendship, or is it just friendship?
Right.
And your guides are sending you a blessing. Your angels are blessing you. They want you to know they're close. And they're sending you strength and courage and confidence and deep, deep love.
Okay, that's great.
Does it help?
That's a wonderful message for her.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for calling in. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Yeah.
I am.
Thanks,
Thank you very
baby.
much.
Okay. So it brings up a lot of things, doesn't it, Nancy? This idea of universal energy, right?
Well, I think if people can start paying attention, that's why I say wake up. And, I say I do a whole chapter on numbers. Pay attention to your numbers, pay attention to different things that go on around you. The reason I bring up numbers is because we didn't talk about this, but I have a certain set of numbers that I see all the time, and it's like confirmation I'm on the right path. Do you ever have that happen to you?
Yes.
And I think people don't pay attention to that. We'll be driving down the road, and I'm going somewhere, and I see my set of numbers, and I know that's my confirmation. That's the universe saying, hey, you're on the right path. You're doing okay. And everybody knows when they're on the right path, and everybody knows when they're trying to get off of it.
We don't always want to admit that, Nancy. Oh, wait a minute.
Yes, I know. But
I love that because those are little affirmations.
Yeah, exactly. I just, I'm hoping that this will help people. I really want people to start being a little more spiritual. And my total feeling about energy right now is that there's so much negativity going on and swirling around, especially here, well, everywhere in the world, I guess I should say. And if we all could just make a conscious effort to put out some good energy, we could actually raise the vibration here on this planet. And believe it or not, that will, and I think you know these things, that would change things for all of us, not just for us, but for our children.
Yes.
If we don't change our vibration and become more spiritual people and start to have a little more faith in our Creator, people have gotten so away from these core principles that I learned, and I think you learned when you were younger, that, everything's gotten, whatever goes, and that's not it. We really need to pay attention to some of these things, because whatever we do now is going to affect our children and our grandchildren. Anyway, that's my feeling on it.
Well, and I think that what you're saying is probably so pertinent and so powerful because, we kind of started talking about this. We kind of make a full circle around. But in today's world, when we look around us, many people feel helpless and hopeless. And remembering that the work just starts with us, wake up and can you be a positive influence, even if it's just one tiny little thing? Like, can you smile at those people at the coffee shop? Yeah.
Right. Do a nice thing. Pay somebody a compliment when you're standing in line at the grocery store. What a nice dress you have on. If you put out good energy, if each one of us actually, it may sound corny to people, but I really believe that if we all just made an effort, every day, instead of saying negative things about what's going on in our country and all of this and that, put out some positive energy, and it will change the vibration, which will change things for everybody as a whole, as a collective. And that's my goal, is to really teach people to use the energy for good. We have the ability to do whatever we want. I always tell people you can use your powers for good or evil. Use your powers for good, because we're powerful little beings with all this energy. We have the ability, right?
I'm only laughing because it's like, yeah, are you a good witch or a bad witch, right?
Exactly. Today I'm a good witch.
Right. I'm not a witch at all, right? I always feel like a little girl, but...
But it's true. It's so true. We all are such powerful beings. We don't give ourselves enough credit. I think you had mentioned that earlier, that we don't, and we have the ability to do these things. We actually have the ability to make things different for ourselves and for each other. So
what a beautiful ending point. So thanks for listening to the show. This is Loretta Brown. You can find out more about me at thelorettabrown.show.com or ReikiOasis.com. And my guest today is Nancy Yearout. She is the author of Wake Up, the universe is speaking to you. And where can they find you, Nancy?
You can visit my website at theenergyprofit.com. You can pick up my book at Barnes & Noble or at Amazon.com. And thanks for having me. I really had a good time, Loretta. Hopefully we helped some people, right?
Well, I hope so. And please let your little light shine, because mine's shining. And everybody out there, this little light of mine. Anyway, have a great, great week. And please go gently into the weekend. Talk to you next week.